Hey guys, and welcome to a very special How I Painting. In today's video I show you how I paint Fallschirmjäger from the Battle of the Bulge. To kick things off, I start with the base of layer. For the winter trousers and some of the lighter highlights, I went with the white grey from the AK. I love this specific tone because it's not a stark, flat white, it's that slightly cold grayish undertone that's perfect for military winter gear. It gives us a great foundation to build up the weathering later on. Once the white was set on the trousers, I move to the main part of the uniform. For this I use Luftwaffe Field Division uniform World War II. I'm applying it carefully over the torso and the sleeves, making sure not to cover the area where I want the white-grey highlights to pop. You can see how this color immediately gives the miniature the historical character. It creates a real nice cold contrast against the light winter trousers we start with. Moving on the edgement, I'm also using Luftwaffe Field Division uniform for the helmet and the Panzerschreck itself. Even though it's the same paint I use for the smoke, it looks completely different on the hard surface. I like using this shade here because it's create a cohesive look for the whole miniature. It ties the gear and the uniform together, while the white-grey on the trousers keep the overall silhouette interesting and bring enough for the tabletop. When painting the Panzerschreck, I'm careful around the slide and the shield. It's a large piece of equipment of such a small model. It's really the focal point of the back view. We went that blue-grey to look cold and metallic. Now the small fabric details, like the gloves and the winter head wrap, I decided to switch thing up and use a uniform gray from Army Painter. I didn't want everything to be exact same shade of blue-gray, so this more neutral tone helped to break up the silhouette. I'm applying it on a head wrap visible under the helmet and to his gloves. Even though there are small areas, they are crucial for the Ardennes winter. Look, it represents the mix of different wool and field-made gear that soldiers actually wear to survive the freezing temperature. Now it's time for the most important parts of the miniature, the face. For the skin tone, I'm using Barbarian Flesh. I choose this specific shade because it has a nice warm undertone. Next up, I'm detailing a sling. I'm using German BG World War II. This is a great contrast color against the dark blue of the Luftwaffe Field Division uniform. It represents the canvas material of the straps. Now let's focus on the content. For this, I'm using flat earth. This earthly brown is perfect for simulating the felt cover that German soldiers had on their water bottle. Now we are on the ammunition. For the rocket itself. I'm using desert yellow. Historically, their projectiles were often painted in the dark yellow or tan color, so this is very accurate choice. Now comes the magic part, where the detailed really start to pop. The washes for the face, I'm applying strong skin shade. For the rest of the model, the uniform, the Panzerschreck and the gear, I'm switching to the dark tone. Now that the wash is dry, we can clearly see the shadows and the folds, but the overall model has become a bit too dark. To fix it, it's time for some layering. I'm going back to our base color Luftwaffe uniform World War II. I'm applying this color only to the race area of the jacket, the top of the folds, the shoulders and the arms. I'm making sure to leave the dark wash visible in the deepest crease. This step is crucial because it's bring back the original vibrance of the uniform while keeping the hard-earned depth we create with the wash. You can see how the fabric starts to look more like real dot catch in the light. For layering, I thin my paint even more than usual. I want to be slightly translucent so I can build up the color gradually. This prevents any harsh lines between the shadows and the highlights, creating a smooth transition that look much more professional on the camera. Now we are focusing on layering on the trousers. I using AK white gray. This is where the winter camouflage really start to look three-dimensional. After the wash, the wire can look a bit dirty, so I am using the light gray to bring back the brightness on all the flat surface and the tops of the folds. Now we are heading into the final details, and it's time to bring the face back to life. I'm using Barbarian Flesh once again for face, nose, and cheekbones and chin. I'm mixing the Luftwaffe uniform and AK white grey in a 1:1 ratio. This gives me a highlight shade that is perfectly consistent with the rest of the uniform, but bring enough to define the sharp edges. Using a mix is crucial here. Its essential transition isn't too jarring. I'm applying it with very fine brush, just catching the point where the light hits. It's the final touch that will really bring the whole 20-minute process together. Now you might be wondering why I'm spending so much time on their highlights. We are past the halfway mark, and this is where the character of the miniature is truly born. When I'm working with this one-to-one radio of Luftwaffe Field Division uniform and AK white grey, I'm not just painting lines, I'm thinking about where the moonlight or the cold winter sun would hit the fabric. In a 20 minutes tutorial, it's crucial to show that speed isn't everything. Precision takes time. I'm going over the edges of the helmet multiple times with very thin layers. If you look closely, I'm also adding tiny dots of the highlights color to the corner of the pouches and the straps. There's micro details that create the illusion of a different material. Now let's bring this soldier into his environment by working on the base. For the earth I'm using chocolate brown. This is a rich deep tone that perfectly represents the damp, muddy soil of the Belgian forest. Before I move on the final texture, I'm adding some small rocks and stone to the base. For this I'm using super glue and winter grass. To paint the stone, I'm mixing middle stone and concrete in a ratio 1:1. To simulate the first dusting of snow, I'm using Corax White. And with that, our Ardennes Fallschirmjäger is finished. I really hope you enjoyed this painting kit and found the tips on the winter camo and the base helpful. Thank you for watching my video. If you like the result, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more painting tutorials. Goodbye.